Here we go. When a car has the nickname Godzilla, you know it's got to be anything but a shrinking violet. The Nissan GT-R quickly became known for its ability to make supercars run in fear when it stomped onto the scene in 2007. These days though, the people who are familiar with this car and its various Skyline predecessors have much less time to drive it in Gran Turismo than they used to. By Nissan's reckoning, the average buyer of this car now actually wants a side of comfort and luxury to go with their Japanese monster. And the changes to the 2017 model reflect an obvious shift into Gran Turismo territory. The new GT-R then is Godzilla in comfortable shoes. And nothing kills terror better than a monster in brogues. Or does it? Let's not write the thing off just yet because it still looks absolutely sensational. Other cars have decided to blend in, but not the GT-R, oh no. Even with some aerodynamic revisions, a new bumper, bonnet, daytime running lights and grille, it still makes a T-Rex look friendly. There's just so much presence and character that effectively tells other road users, yeah, if we race, you're gonna lose. And I love that. It's unashamedly brutal, but also unmistakably a Skyline at heart because of those iconic circular rear lights. The interior has been given some love too as part of Operation Comfort. It has a lower and larger central display so you can see it more easily, 11 buttons instead of 27 so there's less fumbling around, and the paddles, which change the gears, have been moved to the steering wheel so they follow your hands when you turn. You can also ask Nissan for a Napa leather upper dashboard and Recaro seats, providing you are willing to pay for the privilege of the Recaro model. Is it the best interior money can buy? No. It actually comes across as dated in some areas, particularly the infotainment system. But it still manages to remind you that this is a serious bit of kit. So far so good then in terms of design. But what about how well it moves? The absolute first impression you have of the GT-R is one of urgency and scale. It is a big car, and the seats are really huggy, so you know it's going to be extremely fast. There's always this impression that the Nissan engineers could only tame the GT-R so much. And that really is the case, because although Nissan has made the cabin quieter and made it more refined, made the gears smoother, it still feels like it wants to kill you whenever it can. Given how fast it is, there's a really strong chance of that. The new GT-R has the same 3.8 litre twin-turbo V6 as its predecessor. However, it's been given an extra 20 brake horsepower, which makes it the same as the old Nismo edition. Stick the car in all of its respective R modes and it will do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 3.2 seconds, which is about as quick as an Audi R8 V10 Plus supercar. Now, even though it's more civilized, you can still hear the gnashing and whirring of the transmission. It is a noisy car to the point where people think that it's actually broken, but I really like that. But at low speeds, the 3.8 litre engine almost goes to sleep. It's just so much quieter now. And the 6-speed transmission is the same, but it's just a little bit lazier, a little bit smoother. And all of that helps it become a better Grand Tourer than a supercar killer. Hell, even at startup it's well behaved thanks to a 10 decibel quieter exhaust noise, which is good news for your neighbours. A Ford Focus RS and a Bath 124 Spider are noticeably louder, it must be said. For less exciting drives, such as going to Tesco, the new GT-R really is easier to live with, and that makes it a little easier to justify as a daily driver. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Assuming, of course, you can afford the fuel bill, because it's not the most eco-friendly of cars if you thrash it. 23.9 miles per gallon is as good as it gets, according to Nissan, even with the help of stop and start. Although that's if you drive really boringly slow, and you're never going to do that. Now, the steering is of the speed-sensitive, hydraulically assisted rack and pinion variety, which means it changes speed depending on the speed you're going. Now, that does mean the car can sometimes feel a bit like you're driving in a video game. However, it does make the car feel lighter, more agile, and more chuckable. And all of those things inspire confidence. Admittedly, it never stops feeling like a wide car, but the 1,740 kilogram weight is hidden remarkably well, particularly on public roads where the limit of this car is well into the "oh look, we just died" territory. Honestly, it just feels such a planted and grippy car, with the all-wheel drive system really working hard all the time to keep you alive. However, it never kind of mollycoddles you to the point where you ever feel 100% safe. There are very few cars I've driven that feel as savage and as immediate as the GT-R, and I really, really like that. Now, if you do want a firmer version, there is a track edition GT-R, and if you want even leirier, you can go for the Nismo. It is, however, £150,000, which means it's Porsche 911 money, and that makes it very difficult to justify. Now, obviously the GT-R is known for being very fast, so to give you a sense of just how fast, I'm going to mash the accelerator and then we're going to see what happens. So, here we go. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it got up to 30 in no time. It's just ridiculous. While Godzilla has aged a bit, grown a beard and started enjoying last of the summer wine, its rivals have become that much faster and better. A combination of that and the fact that GT-R's price is no longer as cheap means it stands less tall than it used to. But let's be honest, this is the dream for a generation of petrol heads, and softening it up a bit just means you can drive faster on rubbish British roads and keep your spine intact. And how many cars this fast have a reasonable boot and seats in the back? Even after a decade of service, there really is nothing quite like the GT-R. It's just such a potent, leery machine that's still so delightfully effective at defying the laws of physics. Holding fire for its replacement does make sense, but the simple fact is that this is still a huge amount of car for the money.